Introduction. This presentation will explore the principles of mindfulness and happiness. I am Pushpesh Naik, and I have had the honor of collaborating with leading global organizations across 4 continents, traveling to over 65 countries. As a chartered professional engineer recognized by Engineers Australia and holding an MBA from UNSW Sydney, I am pleased to present insights from the book The Art of Happiness, which is based on interviews with His Holiness the Dalai Lama conducted by psychiatrist Howard C. Cutler. This book merges Tibetan Buddhist spiritual traditions with Dr. Cutler's expertise in Western therapeutic methods and scientific studies, offering an accessible guide to achieving everyday happiness. Notably, the book spent 97 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. About the author. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is a Nobel Peace Prize laureate and the spiritual leader of the Tibetan people. Since the Chinese annexation of Tibet in 1959, he has lived in exile in Dharamsala, India, and served as the Tibetan head of state until his retirement in 2011. Dr. Howard C. Cutler is an American psychiatrist who has extensively studied Tibetan medicine and interviewed the Dalai Lama on numerous occasions. External circumstances cannot create lasting happiness. The right state of mind can. His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Howard C. Cutler. The Art of Happiness, a Handbook for Living. External circumstances cannot create lasting happiness. A proper state of mind can. Many agree that life's purpose is to seek happiness, yet it is often perceived as mysterious and elusive. Our understanding of happiness is frequently lacking. According to the Dalai Lama, one can cultivate greater happiness by training the mind. While external events may temporarily influence happiness, individuals typically return to their baseline happiness level soon after. For instance, the joy from winning the lottery is often short-lived. Similarly, individuals facing severe health issues such as cancer or paralysis generally regain their prior happiness level after initial grief. Thus, no specific external conditions consistently impact long-term happiness. The mind is a powerful tool significantly shaping how we perceive the world. Consider, for example, how negative emotions can distort our perception of others. When angered, even close friends may appear irritating or hostile. According to the Dalai Lama, it is feasible to systematically train the mind to recognize and encourage positive mental states while eliminating negative ones. Although this process is gradual, it ultimately fosters a calmness that enables one to lead a happy, joyful life regardless of external circumstances. Developing universal compassion is a pathway to a healthier, more fulfilling life. The Dalai Lama emphasizes the importance of nurturing compassion, not only as a key element of Buddhist spiritual growth, but also as a foundation for enduring happiness. Compassion can be described as a mindset that is free from aggression, characterized by a desire to alleviate the suffering of others. Genuine compassion extends beyond personal emotions or attachments to specific individuals, encompassing all living beings, including friends, adversaries, and even a fish struggling on a hook. The mental and physical advantages of adopting a compassionate approach have been substantiated by research, highlighting benefits that range from experiencing emotional upliftment when aiding others to achieving greater longevity. However, the most remarkable quality of a compassionate individual is the extensive reach of their warmth towards others. They experience a profound connection with all individuals, irrespective of their socioeconomic status or the nature of their relationship. To foster compassion, it is essential to cultivate empathy and actively seek to understand others' perspectives. A practical approach is to consider their backgrounds and emphasize shared experiences. For instance, if a cab driver attempts to overcharge you, instead of responding with anger, consider the commonalities you share, such as both being tired, hungry, and eager to return to your families. By putting yourself in their position, you can develop empathy and reduce your anger, thereby leading to more compassion and a more contented life. The Western concept of romantic love can be restrictive and often insufficient for a sustainable relationship. The belief that profound intimacy can solely be achieved through a romantic relationship can be limiting. Developing close, intimate relationships with others enhances both physical and mental well-being. For individuals who do not experience such a relationship, feelings of loneliness and dissatisfaction may arise. However, the understanding and boundaries of intimacy have significantly varied across different cultures and eras, extending beyond the Western romantic definition. The Dalai Lama himself expressed an intimate connection with various individuals around him, including his tutors and cooks. By embracing the numerous opportunities to connect with others every day, we can lead more fulfilling lives. Challenges often arise in our interactions with others. It is crucial to comprehend the foundational aspects of these relationships. Romantic relationships founded on sexual attraction or the Western ideal of being swept away by love are unlikely to endure without a more substantial foundation. Enduring relationships, conversely, are grounded in respect and appreciation for the other individual. This type of relationship necessitates understanding the deeper nature of the other person, which requires time. As Mark Twain noted, no one truly comprehends what perfect love is until they have been married for a quarter of a century. While religious beliefs can contribute to happiness, basic spirituality can be cultivated independently of them. Spirituality plays a significant role in leading a happier life. Numerous studies have documented the benefits of strong religious conviction, which range from happier families to improved health. However, contrary to popular belief, spirituality is not reliant on any particular religion. According to the Dalai Lama, any of the world's major religions can provide individuals with the opportunity for a happier life. Furthermore, there exists a form of spirituality that is entirely separate from religious belief. Basic spirituality involves fundamental human qualities such as goodness, compassion, and caring for one another, making it accessible to both atheists and religious individuals. Embracing these qualities fosters a connection with humanity, leading to a calmer, happier, and more peaceful existence. Although the Dalai Lama dedicates approximately 4 hours each day to religious practices, basic spirituality can be integrated into daily life without the need for prayers or mantras. For instance, if you find yourself inclined to insult someone, you can practice basic spirituality by resisting that impulse. This continuous practice enhances your capacity for basic spirituality without the necessity of extended prayer sessions. Suffering is an inherent aspect of life, yet we frequently amplify it unnecessarily. Suffering is an inherent aspect of life, yet we frequently amplify it unnecessarily. Suffering is a universal and entirely natural element of existence. Eastern cultures appear to embrace this reality more readily, possibly because individuals in Asia often live in closer proximity to poverty and daily hardships compared to their Western counterparts. Westerners, on the other hand, may not fully grasp that suffering is an inherent part of life and often perceive themselves as victims of an adverse force when faced with adversity. However, suffering is unavoidable. For instance, everyone will age and eventually pass away. Attempting to evade or disregard this reality is merely a temporary solution. When one inevitably encounters suffering in some form, maintaining a constructive mental perspective becomes crucial. If one perceives suffering as something unnatural and unjust, it fosters a sense of victimhood and the tendency to assign blame, rather than addressing the mental root causes of suffering. Suffering may be inherent, but we often inadvertently intensify it by subjecting ourselves to unnecessary distress. For instance, a common mistake among Westerners is to resist change and cling to possessions or aspects we hold dear. However, change is a constant and universal force. Resisting it inevitably leads to suffering as we lose what we cling to. Additionally, a prevalent source of unnecessary suffering is the tendency to dwell on past negative events, mentally replaying them and prolonging the pain. For example, some individuals continue to harbor resentment towards former spouses even decades after a divorce. By accepting suffering as a natural element, one can confront and examine its causes, including the possibility of contributing to it, and begin to lead a more content life. Negative attitudes, feelings, and habits can be eliminated only through sustained effort. According to the Dalai Lama, negative states of mind, such as anger and fear, are obstructions that prevent us from achieving our natural state of happiness. These negative emotions are akin to toxins. Conversely, positive states of mind such as love, compassion, patience, and generosity can serve as antidotes, removing harmful emotions, attitudes, and behaviors. To counter negativity, it is essential to cultivate positive emotions and behaviors consistently. This approach aligns with the fundamental principles of Western cognitive therapy, which identifies and corrects maladaptive behaviors and thinking patterns. Individuals experiencing depression, for instance, often possess a distorted way of thinking. They might concentrate solely on negative aspects, such as workplace challenges or financial difficulties, while disregarding the positive elements in their lives, such as good health and a supportive family. Research indicates that rectifying these distorted thought processes can enhance happiness. The journey to eliminate negative, destructive emotions and behaviors and replace them with positive ones is a gradual and lengthy process. To effectively establish positive habits, understanding the necessity for change is crucial, followed by translating that understanding into the determination to change. With sustained effort, implementing change is achievable. The process of forming new habits may span several years, and expecting immediate results is unrealistic. The Dalai Lama himself acknowledges that it has taken him 4 decades of practice to fully appreciate Buddhist principles and practices. His daily 4-hour prayers serve as reminders of his desired way of living. Through similar determination and regular reminders, you too can eventually cultivate new behaviors. Develop the ability to shift perspectives and recognize the positive aspects in every situation. Often, when confronted with a negative scenario, individuals perceive it as entirely adverse. However, most situations encompass both positive and negative elements and can be approached from various perspectives. For instance, sitting next to an unpleasant companion on a flight may initially seem negative, yet it can be an opportunity to cultivate patience and tolerance. This perspective shift can also help discover meaning in adversity. When facing challenges, resist succumbing to self-pity and questioning your misfortune. Instead, view it as an opportunity to strengthen, find purpose in adversity, and excel. This ability to shift perspectives is supported by maintaining a flexible mindset. Anyone can develop this flexibility by intentionally adopting new perspectives during challenging situations. Individuals with flexible minds may sometimes appear indecisive. How can one adhere to a strict value system while remaining adaptable? The Dalai Lama addresses this by condensing his value system to fundamental principles applicable in diverse situations, avoiding rigid rules that may be restrictive in certain contexts. Cultivating the ability to see positive aspects in negative events requires time and effort. Therefore, it is advisable to begin practicing immediately. Just as a tree cannot develop strong roots at the last moment to withstand an impending storm, one cannot suddenly find meaning in a serious diagnosis received unexpectedly. Reflect on and assess your feelings of anger and animosity, aiming to replace them with patience and tolerance. Examine your emotions of anger and hostility and substitute them with patience and tolerance. Among all negative mental states, anger and hatred pose the greatest challenges to achieving happiness. When feelings of anger or hatred emerge, they quickly disrupt our peace of mind. They also impair our judgment, often prompting actions that exacerbate situations and intensify our anger. Scientific research has shown that tendencies toward anger, rage, and hostility negatively impact health, significantly increasing the risk of heart disease. Suppressing anger and hatred is ineffective. Moreover, expressing anger through rage and shouting tends to amplify negative emotions rather than diminish them. Therefore, the appropriate response to anger involves learning to apply patience and tolerance as antidotes, cultivating them through practices such as meditation. Since anger often stems from a discontented mind, the initial step in addressing it is to foster a mindset of inner contentment. Studies indicate that stress lowers the threshold for feeling anger, thus reducing stress by nurturing calmness and contentment can mitigate anger. When experiencing anger, both the Dalai Lama and Western scientific research suggest taking a moment to pause and analyze the situation. Consider the origin of the anger, the factors contributing to it, and whether it is destructive or constructive. By applying logical assessment to anger and striving to replace negative emotions with thoughts of patience and tolerance, the intensity of anger often diminishes. Address anxiety and low self-confidence by assessing your thoughts, motives, and capabilities with sincerity. Anxiety, fear, and worry are emotions that everyone encounters occasionally. These are natural reactions to certain situations. However, when they become excessive or persistent, they can lead to significant mental and even physical issues, such as weakened immune responses and heart disease. The origins of anxiety are varied, as are the preventive strategies that can be adopted. Similar to the Western psychiatric practice of cognitive intervention, The Dalai Lama advocates for challenging the thoughts that generate anxiety and replacing them with positive ones. At times, a particular situation may induce anxiety, such as asking someone you admire on a date. In relationships, it is beneficial to reflect on the reason behind your actions. Understanding that your motivation is genuine and sincere, such as wanting to be kind to the other person, generally alleviates fear and anxiety. Excessive anxiety often correlates with low self-confidence, and the Dalai Lama suggests that honesty with yourself and others about your capabilities and limitations is the remedy. If you are comfortable with your own boundaries, you can confidently acknowledge when you lack knowledge or ability without compromising your self-esteem. Occasionally, low self-esteem can escalate to self-loathing, where an individual feels entirely unworthy and may even consider suicide. The solution to such an extreme mental state is to remind yourself of the remarkable intellect and potential for growth inherent in every human being, including yourself. Tibetans frequently contemplate this in their daily meditations, which may explain why self-hatred is a virtually unknown concept in their society. Final summary. The presentation by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Howard C. Cutler on the art of happiness emphasizes that enduring happiness is attained through inner mental discipline rather than external factors such as wealth. Cultivating compassion, spirituality, and a flexible mind is essential for effectively managing pain and suffering when they occur.